We were going to speak today about the yoga of dreaming. And we start with the understanding that in truth, we are always dreaming. That which we call dreaming is always happening. The activity of images, sounds, stories, routines, and subroutines are always going on in the subconscious. When we are awake, that stream of life, that stream of consciousness that we call the dreaming, is active yet muted. Our attention is fixated on the input that comes through the senses and on the stream of consciousness that passes through our conscious mind. There, in the external senses and the thinking mind, is that we place our attention, and for most of us that includes also the emotional manifestations of the ordinary emotional centrum. The noise coming through the senses is so loud and overwhelming when we are awake that we barely perceive the motions and the events of the dreaming. Then, when we go to bed and we begin to fall asleep, our attention disconnects, not all at once but in sequence, from the input coming from the body and the input coming from the thinking center. And the attention goes through a reset period, a brief reset period. As the brain, the nervous system begins to catalog the events of the day, taking slices of experience, sounds and images, and storing them in the muscle system of the body. We perceive in a fleeting way a parade of images and events that occur to us during the day. Later in the night, as the body has been going through its process of healing, rejuvenation, and recuperation, we enter into the realm of the dreaming. And there are here three kinds of dreaming that we can speak of. The first one is what happens as we drift into sleep, and is the dreaming, which is a mechanical cataloging of the events of the day. Then there is the healing dreams, which can come in two forms. They can either be nightmare dreams, where something essential in us finds itself slightly deviated from its path, and the nightmare is an attempt by the subconscious to right a wrong, to bring back into balance something that has shifted too much towards an unbalanced state. The nightmare dream is not a bad dream. It is a corrective dream. Its counterpart, the other side of the coin, is the dream of the triumphant dream, I like to call it. This is a dream where archetypal images in the mind are completing a process, are completing an event in our subconscious that allows more and more of our hidden presence to become manifest to us. The triumphant dream is a dream that comes when we are in balance and in harmony with our pure will, with the reason for our incarnation. In both cases, these dreams are an attempt by our system to align itself to its master. The body is a carriage, it's a vehicle, and it is designed to be the avatar of the essence, an avatar that can carry the consciousness of the essence throughout this incarnation to experience and to perform its work. The dreams are cataloging our experiences into the subconscious, but at the same time, they are constantly adjusting this finely tuned instrument, our consciousness, to the will and the attention of the essential self. Now, during our waking life, this continues to happen, but we are oblivious to it. We don't see it because our attention, our ordinary attention, is placed on the external world and in the chatter of our mind. Sometimes our higher self, the essential being who is eternal and always part of the body of God, speaks to us, telling us the key to progress in our work, telling us the stories of our divine origin, guiding us, giving us more light and more understanding. Sometimes it speaks through synchronicities in our daily life. Sometimes it speaks through our teachers. Sometimes it speaks directly through our intuition and our dreams. When speaking through our dreams and intuition, the voice of that inner silence resonates through that part of ourselves that dreams. And we receive that voice as a whisper into the heart. And we receive that voice as a sudden insight, a knowing that came to us not as the result of induction or deduction, but as a direct gnosis, a knowing. When we engage into a spiritual path, into our work. There are times when we proceed in the path subtly from our conscious mind, and the conscious mind is so small in comparison to the that is the subconscious. We engage with the great work with the best intentions, and we're trying to go one way, and our subconscious is going a different way. The key to attainment is to unify these two states of consciousness, the waking and the dreaming, and have them both be ruled by a higher authority, the authority of the essential self. This essential self who finds itself inhabiting an avatar that exists with a physical body and a human identity in the waking world, and who at times finds itself inside an avatar in the dream world, an avatar made of the dream stuff, changing, always merging with its true origin. The source of the attention that executes all its work in the waking it's also working in the dreaming. We don't always know it, we don't always remember it. But a teacher who has unified his consciousness will be guiding, teaching, providing shocks and opportunities in both realms. When you move from one side to the other, the side you're paying attention to acquires detail, vibrancy, and color. And your attention becomes so immersed in what you are witnessing that the other side fades away into the background, and you do not fully remember it. So, in the waking then, the dreams appear as disconnected flashes of memory, slowly fading away from your consciousness as your attention is rooted deep into the input of the senses. And then when you find yourself in a dream, your waking life fades also into the background, becoming forgotten and barely accessible from where you are. And so we go from one dream to another, from one experience to another, never fully remembering ourselves, never connecting the threads of events that form the totality of our consciousness. The unification of our experiences, the experiences of the waking and the experiences of the dreaming, are an essential component to the aim of unifying our being so that as a complete avatar, present in this world and all the others, it can listen to the voice of the Master, the Essence, the divine spark of consciousness within us. Because that voice of the Essence is not divided. It is unified, it is unique, it is undivided. When it speaks, it's heard differently from the divided consciousness. The mind hears it a certain way, the emotions hear it a certain way, and the subconscious through the dreaming hears it yet another way. To create a tapestry of consciousness that moves between the dreaming and the waking as the slithering serpent of fire unifies and weaves all the strands of your consciousness, creating a unity between the waking and the dreaming, between life and death, between this life and all the others, between the self and the non-self, until the whole of experience is one vast field of light, and there is no longer a division between the experience of one dream or the experience of another dream, where consciousness and unconsciousness are equal parts of the ebb and flow of consciousness, the cusp and the crest of this wave, which is our consciousness, following its serpent path between light and darkness, and finds the essence of our being always hovering between darkness and light, such as the morning star does, ever present in that liminal state between a sleep and a dream. To work this serpent path of the yoga of dream requires an effort of the attention, the effort to remember itself within every dream. It requires the effort to remember that it is dreaming, to know that here in this room, having this experience, in this chamber right now, it is a dream. That the dream will resolve itself into nothingness, and that I will be reborn into another dream. And this dream will put itself together from the elements of my mind, and it will resolve itself. And in each resolution of itself, all the opposites merge, combine, recombine, and annihilate one another. When we acquire the experience of remembering that we are in a dream, we will begin to observe this ebb and flow of consciousness, this observing the dream and resolving the dream back into nothing. We will see, once we have accumulated billions of years of practice, that the currents of experience in the waking and in the dreaming are following the same laws that create life and destroy life. And so we will witness not only dream after dream, experience after experience, but on a larger scale also life and death and the spaces in between, until we come to see that the entirety of existence is emerging out of the empty void. It combines and recombines itself over and over, always resolving itself back into zero, into nothing. And so, in this union of the I am within you that observes your lives and observes your dreams, you will find yourself identified with the point of consciousness, eternal and ever-present, that has existed from the beginning of creation and will continue to exist until the last flame of the last star fades away. And as such, it has been ever present, existing as you, as me, as everyone else, having all the dreams, living all the experiences. Until it too resolves itself back into the nothing. From where it came. And in that union of the conscious with the unconscious, in that union between being and not being, comes the unity of the totality of your being. Such grandiose plan, however, starts with a single moment. The moment of today, of right now. And as we speak and hear and see the room we're in, we can become aware that there has been this vast ocean of darkness behind us, moving and sliding in between the words, bringing flashes of images and memories and insights. And every word and every image and every knowing emerges from this tremendous darkness and goes back to it. And so everything dissolves itself back into the source of all dreams. And you can observe that as you listen to the one who speaks. And you can become aware that every word uttered by the one who speaks emerges out of nothing. It's enveloped in nothing. and resolved itself into nothing. Every word, as every idea, as every sentence, as every unit of meaning exists for a brief moment, and the only thing that strings all these words and meanings together is the thread of your consciousness, who lives for a little longer than each word, and thus is able to string a serpent of meaning, creating in that weaving a sense of understanding, a glimpse of memory, a particle of eternal existence. And you notice as I speak that it is truly a matter of choice where I put my attention. If in the dreams that flow across the back of my head, if in the nothingness that sees everything born out of it and everything returned to it, or in the input that comes through the senses and are filtered by the mask of the avatar we have created to have a life, to live in a world, and to define an identity through the telling of personal stories, the recounting of a dream that we call my life. That placement of the attention is the one true power we all have, and the one true freedom we can all exercise. Until the time when the avatar has been created out of the totality of one's existence, where a higher sense of being, of freedom, and of personal power can be exercised. And yet, this freedom to place our attention where we will is rarely, very rarely claimed as one's own. It begins there then, in claiming the power to place your attention that the true act of creation begins. Ahom Takoyas. Now I would like to open the floor for questions or comments. And remember that I cannot hear you, so please input it into the chat box. And if there are no questions, then I thank you for your presence. And we will put this video up on Facebook at some point. There is a question. Thank you, Auntie Maria. Thank you. Go ahead, Koyote. Koyote asks, the claiming of the attention that you refer to, is that related to the state that one gets when meditating as being present in the moment? That is part of it. That is part of it. The meditation of being present in the moment is it's only the ability to hold yourself in one place. The freedom I speak of has to do with also being able to at will place your attention, not here, to have the freedom to voyage, to place your mind, whatever it is that you will to go. To be here and now implies the placing yourself inside whatever dream you're having at that moment. But something else is going on behind you, above you, within you. And the attention is your own to be here, there, and everywhere. Antimatter asks, is there a task you could give us to work with to help us remember ourselves throughout the dreaming? There's one simple exercise that I have found very useful, and is to take on the habit for a month, every day and at any moment that you remember yourself, to look around you and say, I am dreaming this. And then if you have time for more than that, then examine this dream in all details. Examine the shapes, the colors, touch something, and marvel at the detail of this hallucination, of this dream. Do that wherever you find yourself, regardless of whether you think that this is a dream or that this is the waking. Learn to see everything as a dream that you're having at this moment. That is one practice to help you remember yourself throughout the dream. You're welcome. We will have then another talk in 1 month, and I thank you for your presence again. I hope.
Many thanks, and may our work together help us remember the dreaming, the dream, and the Great Mother. Thank you.